Yeah.
Because it does that with those certain times. But I'll come out and say like, hey, listen, I'm getting all these different issues, these bugs. Are you sure like this is what is in it? Like this is it? Like this is the game itself? And sometimes they'll be like, oh no, there's a day one patch coming out, there's such and such coming out. We'll get it out to you, this fix at this day. I've had that before. I think I've had that not only with Fallout, when I was doing a Fallout guide, and I think one other one I can't remember. That was like maybe a year or so ago, where I've had that kind of thing I had to deal with. But it's really not that bad. Usually they're very cool about it. They'll be like, yeah, we're still got stuff coming out. Because again, you're getting an early release copy sometimes, and you can only test for so many things. Like there's bugs that are like really bad. There's like, yo, how the hell did you miss this type of stuff? But then there's other ones that are just silly, that are just like, okay, you got a ridiculously big game like Fallout 4. There's bound to be some bugs in this open world somehow. I remember the one bug I ran into where I forgot what the name of the boss was. It was coming out of this lake in one area. I think if anybody has played Fallout 4, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's this giant thing. This
You screen something. Giant human crowd.
like you go towards like this fountain or lake, there's like a little flower there, and all of a sudden this giant thing just comes out. I remember going to it, and as I'm in the fight, the thing got boosted up into the air on top of a tree and just stood there. So all I had to do was just take my gun for like maybe a couple minutes, just shoot it down and just kill it and take the loot. Like that's how I finished that boss fight. It was easy. I was like, oh, I got this. But there are things like that happen, and it's just like they're random. They're not usually. I don't think developers really like being lazy in instances like that. But occasionally, sometimes I'll have to hit them up and be like, hey, what's up with this? So yeah. But yeah, it's cool to me though. Every once in a while, it's good at least having that open dialogue with them. What else do you guys want to know about? Trying to get you guys talking. I know it's late. You all need coffee.
Mobile games? Do you also review mobile games?
Yes, I have some content with mobile games. I actually, a lot of stuff with Square Enix, because the last couple times I've gone to E3 or gone to some of their events at other, or at least, gatherings at other events, I've had to do a number of mobile games of Brave Exvius. I don't know if anybody plays Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, but this is a shirt I got from, one of the developers that does it. When I saw them, I get to play, see the game early, talk with them, do one-on-one interviews with them. As far as reviews, I haven't done a lot of reviews for mobile games, with the exception of guides for like Fallout Shelter and such. But as I still am able to see them, still go to events and actually play them, because I think it's good to have that type of exposure to that. Because obviously, mobile games are a very big deal. They're a growing thing. I mean, everybody has a mobile phone or a tablet, so obviously there's going to be some sort of stuff there to pay attention to. I mean, Super Mario Run. We're getting Animal Crossing like not too long from now. Everybody's going to get house calls from Tom Nook. I'll tell you right now, y'all better pay up your bills. But yeah, it's still an important aspect of it.
But how do you, I guess, sift through all the mail from all the, I guess, game studios sending you like games to review? Like, how do you pick them?
Sometimes, I mean, I don't really get a lot of emails like that where I get flooded. I know people that do, because obviously their followings and their outlets, and everybody wants them to talk about their games. But as far as like choosing what games to review, choosing what games to cover and talk about, usually it's games that really appeal to me, games that I'm passionate about, series I'm passionate about, games that I know, series that I know. I'll go to the publisher or the PR people and ask them, hey, like, we want to talk about this game, or I want to review this game on launch or before launch. Would you mind? Are you able to send me a review unit, a review copy, or at least give me an interview with some of the people over there? Something. Or better yet, even now, it's happened to me a few times, I've been able to get flown out by the publisher to go to different events, like Destiny 2. I went to 2 Destiny 2 events. I went to the big reveal event that they had with the live stream and everything. I was actually in the audience there. And then there was the one right before where a bunch of us from the media, from different outlets, got to play the game like a whole couple weeks early, I want to say. We flew out to Bellevue and got to talk to Bungie, got to do a whole bunch of different stuff, where we're actually able to get like a lot of coverage, a lot of video content, and then put it out by certain embargo dates, things like that. But really it comes most of the time from me reaching out to them. It's not as much them reaching out to me. Like, it happens every once in a while, but it usually comes from indie developers that want everybody to talk about their stuff, but usually it's me reaching out to them.
Oh, all right. That's pretty cool.
Just cool. Yeah. What's up?
So, who are some of the influences on you? Like maybe other games journalists that you would have idolized as a kid?
Oh, I have a lot, man. I mean, my biggest one that, again, I got to talk to him recently, Colin Moriarty. He's one of my biggest role models, one of my biggest influences in what I want to do as far as like making the impact I want to make. Stuff. I got to talk with him for about an hour. I mean, the first time I met him, it's crazy meeting people that you watch on TV or watch on the internet. It's surreal sometimes. And then it really brings things in perspective to you, it grounds you a little bit. And it's very cool because sometimes, most of the time you always hear stories about people when they meet like their influencers or role models that are not what you expect. More often than not, in this case for me, it was like, he's a cool dude, it's great conversation, great topics, great food for thought that I got from him. So Colin's one of them, Greg Miller, obviously, everybody knows Greg Miller, from Kind of Funny from IGN. Adam Sessler, anybody a G4 fan? Who grew up with G4 here? Who watched G4 TV? Who watched X-Play? Let's separate the OGs now. Who watched X-Play? Who watched Judgment Day? Who watched Attack of the Show? Screensavers? Hey, see, notice those numbers start to dwindle. Extended play? Yeah, exactly. So Adam Sessler's another one. I'm actually trying to get him on my show sometime soon. I've actually been trying to reach out and be like, hey, come chat it up with me, and we can talk about a whole bunch of stuff, like different people like that. A bunch of women that I actually really look up to. Andrea Renee. Anybody knows that Andrea Renee? If you ever walked into a GameStop and you actually seen that little video that they play on the TV, Andrea Renee did a bunch of videos for them on that. She was on GameStop TV. She does What's Good Games now. She was on Playboy at Gamer Next Door. Did a bunch of stuff with Pamela Horton, which is pretty cool. Alexa Ray Correa is another one that she's also part of What's Good Games. She does a lot of the JRPG stuff. She's written about Kingdom Hearts, one of my favorite series of all time. Final Fantasy, like crazy. Dragon Quest, a whole bunch of stuff. That if you love JRPGs, you've read her stuff or seen some of her work at some point. I'm trying to think, who else is another big one? Jeff Keighley. Anybody know who Jeff Keighley is? The Game Awards. If you guys ever checked out game trailers back in the day before it went under, he did a lot of the stuff in game trailers. Also, Michael Pachter. Michael Pachter's a good influence on me also because Michael Pachter's the money guy in the gaming industry. He knows money. He knows numbers. Like he's like that old man with like the toe that seen doing the taxes like that. That's what he reminds me of. But he's a really cool dude, a really cool, great old man. But he knows all about a lot of stuff. You see him on like CNBC or CNN, something like that, talking about money. So it's interesting from him too because that's an aspect of the gaming industry that is there that people talk about it, but not a lot of shine gets on it because we're so caught up in the flair and the style and the big kind of reveals, the crazy exclusives, the AAA splashes of the gaming industry. That's what we really focus on. And he covers a little bit of a different aspect of that, even though he does his own show called Pack Attack or the Pack Factor and stuff. It's really cool. So those are some of my biggest influences. I mean, then you get into like the YouTube stuff. Like, obviously everybody here watches videos on YouTube, right? I'm pretty sure you've checked out a lot of gaming personalities on there. Believe it or not, this is going to make a couple people cringe. One of my biggest influences when I started out was Darkside Phil. As far as like putting videos out, as far as the frequency of that. I used to watch a lot of his videos back in the day because YouTube was young back then. There was a lot of people that were on YouTube that were still on the grind putting stuff up, like the Angry Video Game Nerd, Nostalgia Critic. What was the other? There was another one I'm trying to remember. That was like similar to the Angry Video Game Nerd. There was like a bunch of clones of him throughout the years. He's got doppelgangers. But there's different people like that. I mean, also I used to watch a little bit more Philip DeFranco, like old Philip DeFranco stuff. You get a good piece of like people all over the place from different aspects of the gaming industry. But those are some of my biggest ones that I've really loved watching over time and being able to talk with them now. At least meet up with them. Another one also too, The Completionists. Everybody watch The Completionists? Anybody know who that is? Okay, yeah. Gerard, he's pretty cool. I got to meet him for the first time at E3. We went to the Ubisoft press conference, so we got to talk for a little bit. That was pretty cool. So, yeah. So talk to me. What else do you guys want? I'm trying to get you guys talking a lot more because you guys are like defeated. Some of you probably went to class. You're like, you know what? I'm done.
Someone send me something from Kickstarter to say,
say that again?
Kickstarter. Like, if someone send me that they're making a game for Kickstarter.
I've had some stuff come my way with that. I've tried to avoid Kickstarters and a lot of GoFundMe type of stuff because I feel like that gets into very weird gray territory. There's a lot of stuff involving ethics where, as a journalist or someone that critiquing a product and such, you don't want to be able to fund that because then that's always put into question. Like that came up within the last few years about Kickstarter because also keep in mind a lot of people have really kind of had a really bad aftertaste with Kickstarter with games like Mighty Number 9. I forgot the other one that he did. I think it was Red Earth or Red Sun. Something like that. The other was it Kenji Inafune game that was done on Kickstarter. Red Ash. Okay, yeah, there you go. And then there's a couple others. Then there's also Bloodstained, which I got to play Bloodstained 83, and it's pretty dope, especially if you like, Castlevania. But then you hear about the stories where people get stuff pushed back, other big publishers or companies pick it up, and all of a sudden they're the ones that are making the decisions, not the people that give money for the Kickstarter. It gets into a lot of weird territory. So I've really kind of avoided some stuff here and there, but I've had some things come my way here and Oh, did you guys say something?
No.
Jake, what is I guess the future of Jakejames Lugo and the coalition?
Oh, if like of me and like where I want to go.
Yeah.
Again, I want to be able to work for IGN. That's my biggest goal. I want to be able to be full staff at IGN because I've been very unapologetically open about that. Because again, to me they're the biggest, and I want to go do stuff and make an impact with the biggest. I want to be able to at least make an impact in the gaming industry through my craft stuff. That's really going to be felt long after I'm gone. At least that's the way I look at it, because I'm passionate about games, I'm passionate about the industry, I'm passionate about the discussion about games, because I think that to me that's fun. Being able to go to a convention or an event like E3 or PAX. Anybody here been to PAX? A couple people been to PAX? Y'all need to go to PAX. Start making plans now for April. That you should go to these types of events, especially if you guys want to be devs, especially if you want to be involved in the gaming industry. Going to events is a huge, important aspect of it, because that's where you meet people, that's where you get engrossed in that environment of people that are very similar to you, that love this type of stuff. That's where you learn new things. I mean, even me as a journalist, wanting to talk about games and do podcasts and stuff, just being around some of the people when they're at work, you pick up on things. You get in that energy, you get in that mindset, it's like, yo, I see something awesome that they're doing over there. I want to be able to be on that same level. I want to be around that crowd. So you start doing similar stuff or taking similar approaches and start thinking about things differently in order to be around that same environment. It becomes very addictive. And it's good because obviously you want to up your game, you want to up your quality of stuff. But yeah, I just say, to me, it's like being able to do stuff, things that are just people are going to like, people are going to enjoy, people are going to talk about and remember or go back to down the line. That's where I want to go for me. As far as like the coalition, I'm still with them. Eventually, if I ever get the call, or if I ever get the ability to go to another outlet that's like, a big outlet where all of a sudden now I'm being paid on a salary to be, doing what I do best or doing what I love, and obviously things are going to change. But for now, I'm still with them. I'm still grinding it out, still putting up content. Again, trying to really put stuff out there. Again, I just got an iTunes podcast recently, so I'm still constantly doing stuff like every day. So trying to make it happen.
Actually, been to GDC?
I've been dying to go to GDC. And here's the problem with GDC. This is every single time. PAX East is right around the corner, or it's right around it. And you can only do so many trips sometimes. I would love to go to GDC. I would love to go to, the Gamescom conference in Germany. I would love to go to Tokyo Game Show. I would love to go to Paris. Paris Games Week is happening right now. Or at least, this weekend, something like that. The PlayStation conference at Paris Games Week is about to go down. So I want to go to all these places, especially GDC, since it's right here in the United States. It's just I haven't had the time to.
GDC is definitely more developer oriented. I feel press have a better time of like.
That's when we get that interaction.
Right.
We get more of that interaction, especially with indie developers that are able to go, because there isn't a lot of the general public going. Like E3 now, it's become more general public because there are a lot more people to go. But E3 used to be, because it was so exclusive, you still get to have that one-on-one conversation with the devs or the publishers that are there. And still be able to be in that environment. But GDC even more so, because that's a little bit more of an industry event. It's strictly an industry.
Right. I've been to PAX a few times, specifically PAX East. I've been to the others, but I've been to PAX East a lot, and it's a big it's an event for the consumer. It's a big consumer.
Yeah, it's always been a consumer event.
There's a lot of developers, especially a lot of indie developers.
Of course, yeah.
This past year, there was $1 billion in developers.
The reason being also is because there's a lot of people that go. A lot of the general public, because keep in mind, that's your outlet, and at least that's your open window to the general public. Or, at least speaking to them and being out there. Because you can still get exposure from press and media at like some of these industry events, and somebody talks about it, all of a sudden it'll blow up. You can also do the same thing at a PAX, where it's like random people that go to the stores and just buy games. You'll be able to reach out to them.
I guess it depends where your goal is. I think if you want to go to PAX, like for that, go to PAX. Because I think there's a much bigger audience in numbers, right? And it's less expensive than GDC. But if you want to get a job in the industry,
you should, as a person like us here, everybody should try to go to everything.
Yeah.
But bottom line, like that, because you want to be able to be out there.
So much.
You want to be able to be everywhere that you can, especially if you're working in the industry. But definitely PAX is a fun event. I love PAX East. I've gone now maybe about 3 times as media.
Yeah, I've gone 4.
But it's really cool. The one I want to go to now is PAX West, PAX
Me
Prime.
too.
And then eventually, God willing, go to like a PAX Australia, even though it's similar. PAX Australia, PAX South, very similar events. But be able to go to all of those. Just to say that I've gone and experienced it.
Very important, right? What kind of PAX after parties?
Here's the funny thing about after parties. As someone that's been there and seen stuff go down, they're very overrated.
Okay.
Let me put it this way: people gas them up more than what they actually are. Because I've been to some crazy E3 after parties like that. Because the reason why you go to these after parties is the business side of things, the serious side of things.
It's the real.
The real reason why you're going, real reason why you're going, is because you want to be able to relate and get at least that one-on-one time and be in front of a lot of these people, developers, publishers, other people you could at least interact with here and there. And sometimes being around that atmosphere really helps out as far as like getting everybody to lower their defenses. They're not in PR mode. What I call PR mode is when you go to say hi to them, you go to talk to them, and they're giving you the scripted response.
Right.
That's how everybody is sometimes, especially if you're in PR, when you're talking to the media, or again, you're somebody talking to another general person, because you want that good perception. That's how it is at E3 a lot. You can try to go talk to somebody and you're trying to get a scoop and stuff, they're on lockdown. They're iron gate. Like, they don't want no craziness, they want no breaking news, they don't want stuff going out of their PR plan. However, once you go to things like this, sometimes this is where, a lot of the ideas, a lot of the conversations happens like that. And most of the time, you're not supposed to really talk about things like that. It happens. But it's good at least getting to know people in the industry, getting to at least be in front of them, getting to at least, be able to relate to them and at least put your face in front of them like that. Because then later on, that comes into factor at some point. For me, one of the craziest events or gatherings that I went to was at an E3 party. I went to this one for Bethesda, of all the publishers. It was in LA. It was my first E3. And it was in the shadiest part of LA. Like, if you can imagine going to a place like Compton, and a really shady part of Compton that you've never been to before, this one was like that, but out in the middle of nowhere, in the most dark spot, all out of the way, and away from everything else. It was closer to Hollywood, something like that, but it was in this place that just looked suspect, really suspect. You go inside, and it's a Bethesda gathering, so you're thinking Fallout, Elder Scrolls, etc. like that. You think you're going to go see stuff like that. There's really no games there. I mean, there was a couple promotional material stuff there, but it was really about just getting people together and just talking stuff. It was a crazy night because that was the first time I met Cliffy B. That was the first time I met Adam Susser. I met Marcus Beer. Anybody know Marcus Beer, the Annoyed Gamer? Game trailers? Anybody watch that? No? Maybe one, two people? Those different industry people that I've met, in environments like that, and been able to talk to them, be able to speak with them, and be able to at least be like, yo, check my stuff out, or at least, I'm a fan of yours and stuff. It's always cool to have that. So it's necessary, it's a necessary part of the industry, or a part of the entire thing, even though, it's extracurricular for a lot of people.
Right.
Which is still fun. But it's still cool. So what else do you guys want to know about? What else do you guys want to talk about as far as game stuff, games reviews, games media? Anything, throw it at me.
What was the first game you ever played that got you into gaming?
The very first, Sonic the Hedgehog on Sega Genesis. Back in 1993, 94 for me. Or was it? It's been a while. Years mix them up sometimes a little bit, but that was my very first game. Literally, Genesis was my Genesis into gaming. As cliche and cheesy as that sounds, it's totally true. I was a Genesis kid growing up. Okay, I know one of the things that's really old school, and you can really tell when you talk to some people that grew up around that time frame with Genesis, SNES, and then eventually PlayStation 1 and 64, is that a lot of people that had one console, because you could only really get one console in the household, had friends where you could go visit and they had the other console. That's how you got exposed. So as a Genesis kid, I had Sonic, I had the WWF games, Royal Rumble, Raw, WrestleMania arcade game. I had Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3, NK eventually, Street Fighter Championship Edition, etc. The list goes on. Toe Jam and Earl, Vector Man, stuff like that. And I would go to friends' houses and I would get exposed to Super Mario Worlds, Super Mario All-Stars, Super Mario Kart, Donkey Kong Country, Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy 3. The list goes on. That's how you get exposed to that back in the day. But for me, it was Genesis. That was my very first. The first time I got a Nintendo console, though, believe it or not, was N64. And I still remember I got Shadows of the Empire, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, because I was a big Star Wars fan, and Turok Dinosaur Hunter. Those were my two first games on N64.
Yes.
And it was just and then, because I had that, I had a friend who owned a PlayStation 1, so I would go to his house and play Tekken 2, Tekken 3, Crash Bandicoot, random stuff.